Hello. So I'm going to be glancing at my notes here and there just because if I don't write down what I'm going to talk about, it'll be like a 20,000 minute video. But I wanted to shed some insight on 4 reasons why you might not be putting yourself first. And I want to preface this with not putting yourself first is so unbelievably common. Like, please don't feel bad or down on yourself or alone if you feel like you can't or you don't put yourself first. As a professional certified life coach, I can tell you I have so many people that tell me that they don't put themselves first, and a lot of times that is like one of their goals or like a theme from which their goals stem from. And things like coaching, therapy, healing, body work, all the fields of self-help, self-improvement, healing, growth, all of those invite us to start putting ourselves first. And ironically, a lot of us think that putting everything else first is the best tactic, but in reality, what I usually notice is that we don't feel good when we put everything and everyone else first before ourselves. And when we put ourselves first, it's usually something that shifts a change in us for the better that trickles out into every other life area. When we put ourselves first, there's so many magical things that happen. We feel more balanced, we feel more peaceful, we feel more confident, we feel more present, we feel more productive. We're usually better versions of ourselves in general, which helps the business, the career, helps the relationships, it helps health, helps mindset. Gosh, what else? It helps finances. I've even seen it help finances. It really does affect every life area when we put ourselves first. And so I can't speak for everyone's truth and reality in lives because I don't know. There's always like so much to explore around topics for each person and their unique life situation, their beliefs, their perspective, their values, their mindsets, their childhoods, their goals, their struggles. But these are just 4 universal reasons I've noticed why people tend to not put themselves first and what you can start doing about it as well. So, reason number 1 why maybe you can't or don't put yourself first is because we're not taught how. I wish we were. The world would be a better place, but luckily, we can learn how. And what that looks like is going to be so subjective and different for each person because everybody resonates with different things. Putting yourself first might look like reading more books. It might look like dialing in your health. It might look like having a more positive mindset. It might look like increasing your self-worth. It might look like improving your confidence or decluttering or changing careers. I mean, there's so many ways that putting yourself first can be subjective to each person. So we didn't learn this in school. There was no self-prioritization 101 in school. So please don't be hard on yourself if you don't put yourself first. You're in this position because you set yourself up this way, and there's a way to unset yourself up this way, of course. Thank goodness. And society kind of, encourages us to do all the things, go all the places, like make all the money, please all the people. So there is a huge part that societal pressures and cultural norms play into putting ourselves last. So that's reason number 1 why you might not be putting yourself first. You were not taught how. Reason numero 2, a lot of people I talk to that are interested in coaching and start life coaching, and depending on where they're at, a lot of them don't even know what it looks like anymore. Like, they're like, I don't know what putting myself first even looks like because I haven't done it in so long. And it hurts my heart to hear that, but it is just the reality. For some people, is like they don't know what putting themselves first even looks and feels like. So I usually ask, what would it look and feel like to start putting yourself first? And then that really gets the brain going, because usually we know where we're at. We know what we're struggling with. We know what we want to get rid of. But sometimes we get stuck there. So I like to ask, imagine you are putting yourself first in a healthy way. What does life look like from that space? And it not only helps you get clear on what you're aiming for, but it also helps you, your brain specifically, start to believe that it's actually possible, because it starts imagining all the details of putting yourself first, basically. So that's the second reason why you might not be putting yourself first, that you're not even sure what that means for you or what it looks like. And like I said, it's going to be so subjective for each person. There really is no one size fits all. That's one of the reasons that life coaching is so helpful and powerful, is because it's so customizable and tailored to each individual person. And so the third reason why you might not be choosing to put yourself first, or you feel like you can't put yourself first, could be that you feel like you don't have enough time, which is also a common thing I hear from coaching clients, is like, I have my job, I have my kids, I have my husband, and then my social life, and then my self-care, and then my health, and whatever else. Like, we have all these things stacked up, right? And we filled our time with a bunch of stuff, but luckily we can unfill our time with stuff, and there's many methods to that. And of course, you're gonna start being like, oh my gosh, she's a broken record. That will be also subjective for each person and look different for each person, depending on what is taking up your time, and if it's getting you closer to your goals, and if it's like an efficient use of your time and your energy. So that might be a third reason why you're not putting yourself first, is because like you feel like you just don't have enough time. But even thinking about it, the phrase not having enough time isn't necessarily a true statement, because we all have the same amount of time. My marketing mentor once said that time is the great equalizer, because everyone has the same amount of time. It's not that we don't have time. We always have the same amount of time as everybody else in the day. But it's usually that we're filling up our time with too much stuff. Whether that's stuff that is necessary or not necessary, that is to be explored and determined for each person as well. And then the fourth reason why you maybe feel like you can't or don't put yourself first is because you don't have support. And so this is where life coaching could be really beneficial in helping you figure out what is in the way of putting yourself first. What does it look like to put yourself first? What are the action steps to start putting yourself first? Like, this is so surface level basic stuff. Like, of course, there's so much to explore around this that could be helpful in putting yourself first, but sometimes we just need support, whether it's therapy for healing, or it's life coaching for growth. Both modalities are so powerful and so helpful in learning how to put ourselves first. And so what can we do with this, right? Like, okay, here's the reasons why. If I was coaching you just in a very general basic sense, without knowing what specifically we need to address to start putting yourself first, without knowing what it looks like to put yourself first, I would get curious on what the real challenge is here for putting yourself first. Like, what is like the heart, the meat of the issue of putting yourself first? Like, getting clear on that. And I would also be curious about what it looks like and feels like to put yourself first, like in as many vivid, tangible details as you can. And just like, don't worry if the answers don't come right away, because maybe you're so far from putting yourself first you forget what that looks like. Just like marinate on that question and feel into it and give it some time. Journaling on it would be awesome too, because writing really is a great way to express. And then I would also be curious on like, how could you free up more time? And if something doesn't come in right away, also marinating on that, because there are always ways to free up more time. Always, 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 no matter how busy you are. Time is a big one. Time is a big topic. Time, money, relationships, things like that. So comment below, let me know what you think of these 4 reasons why you might be struggling to put yourself first. I would love to know what you think, and like if anything's resonating or standing out. And if you don't want to comment publicly, you can also private message me and let me know what you thought of this and if it resonated with you. And of course, as always, if you're desiring more support to reduce overwhelm, get unstuck, I help my life coaching clients basically become better versions of themselves, have more balanced lives, feel more inner peace, things like that. So I would love to support you if you are feeling like stuck, blocked, lost, challenged, putting yourself last, overwhelmed, things like that. Always feel free to reach out to me if that's something you're interested in. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And remember, all of this can be shifted. I promise, promise, promise. Like I said, it's empowering to take that personal responsibility of like, you got yourself here, but you can totally change it, which is the best part. So I'll see you guys soon.